And before we jump into all this stuff,
Rolling.
my desires are always to try to instill some wisdom into those people that are within an earshot to what it is I have to say to help you guys on this journey. Some people don't care. They're just like, whatever happens, whatever happens. But a couple of these guys were going down the wrong road, and I was like, well, why do you want to go do that if you know that's going to be a problem? And they didn't have a really good answer. And I said, there's a famous proverb that says a wise person sees trouble and goes the other way. It's like fools go in and try to break up a dogfight. It just doesn't make sense. And it's about, what are we doing with our life? Do we have direction? Do we don't? And I think what it generally comes down to, if you don't have purpose, if you don't have vision, if you don't have dream and ambition, then anything goes. It's like, hey, trouble's actually interesting. It's entertaining. It's at least more energy than what's going on in my life. And as sad as that sounds, it's true. And that's where you get troublemakers. Troublemakers, basically, their whole life is they know if they're making trouble, then they have a life. It's kind of twisted, and often that winds up being a really bad situation. However, I'm talking to a room full of actors. And acting, not just for the sake of the art, or you would probably be in some subterranean basement somewhere with some theater actor just working on, the thespian dynamics of the character discovery and all of that, which is totally an art form as well. But this is an on-camera acting studio that's very relevant in helping people get work in film and television. We have no qualms about that. That's what we do. And so, that being the case, part of you being able to do that, if you haven't watched any of the procedurals that are on TV right now, might let you know that you don't need to be the greatest actor in the world to work in television. There are other factors involved, and hence why we teach what we teach here at CBSI, to help give you guys a bit of an edge in what it takes for you to actually make a difference, to get noticed, to be seen. Now, we had a big contest film festival / here this weekend. And I tell the room, for those of you that were here, it's amazing how, look at the size of this room now. Didn't it seem a lot larger?
Yeah.
There was 65 people crammed in here, standing room over. I mean, the seats went right up to the screen. It was packola in here. It was crazy. And we had over 1,000 views online. So that was pretty cool. It was just a big night. And in that, you're looking at 70 people trying to reach 10 slots. So it's a difficult thing to do for anybody. And that's kind of like what happens in an audition. You've got a whole lot of people trying to get one job. It's the same thing. And we do it because it's like part of the training to prepare you and to just continue to keep you accommodated with what it takes to do this, that we have to continually put our stuff out there. Sometimes it flies and sometimes it dies. And that's just the nature of how it is. Some really great stuff doesn't make the cut. And other things do really well. That's a contest. That's just the nature of a contest. The whole world is gearing up for this Sunday. And everybody's excited. But half the world will be disappointed come Sunday night because their team didn't win. That's just what it's all about. And it's us being able to maintain our attitude while we do this. Now, in the midst of these competitive things, whether they be contests or games, competitions, or whether it just be your life, there are some people that just would rather not participate because they don't want to deal with the fear of failure and not being able to reach their dreams or hit their accomplishments. And that's not really a great attitude. This experience is like that. And as we know this week, sometimes it could come really unexpectedly. And that's just the nature of life. It's terminal. But while we're here, in my feeling and in my belief system, we're here to get every bit of goodies out of what's going on inside here. We're like these human piñatas. And we're just filled with treats and goodies. All kinds of really cool things. And when we get in there, we get to just like bring them out throughout life. And it doesn't stop. It's an endless reservoir. But if we're at a place where our attitudes are down and they're dim and they're shut off, it's like now we're not allowing ourselves to really find out who it is that we are. And it's not really conducive to competitive anything. And this business is a competitive business. So that's why I take the time in front of an acting class to discuss, guys, these are little things that I want to be able to help you out with that will give you more odds and advantages than if you don't apply yourself towards these things. Now, when you don't have much going on and there isn't a whole lot happening, that's tough because you got to create things. A lot of actors sit around waiting for something to happen. Well, now you're a waiter. Waiters don't do well in front of the camera. The camera doesn't like waiters. The camera likes activators. Things that are activated, that have energy, that have intention. There's a dynamic. That's what the camera likes to capture. That's what people like to observe, as opposed to waiting for something to happen. So the mere act of you living your life is setting you up for success or failure in the acting business. The whole point of Pathways to Empowerment is to give you key edges and advantages in all aspects of your life so that even if you're only taking on a little bit, each time you hear these type of teachings, if you get them anywhere else or not, even if you're adding just a little bit to who you are and what you're doing, you're working proactively for yourself as opposed to just sitting around waiting and hoping that something might happen to you. Like a zap of lightning. Right? Because most kids just got slapped on the fanny when they were bad, but some kids got lightning bolts thrown at them. That was my favorite line in that monologue. Thank you, Ross, for that. So, I'm not going to go long and deep. We did the playbacks. They're being posted right now as we speak, so you can go back. We've tightened them up. We're editing them down and making them very pithy so that you guys will actually go visit them and gain some things from it. The first ones of these are more full. They're going to be shorter and shorter, just giving you the nuggets and the bite-sized pieces so that we can continue on with the actual acting training. But I do feel this is important. I wouldn't be doing this, spending my whole life doing this and helping people. And I have endless envelopes back before there were even computers. And of course, email files filled with testimonials of people that were saying, this is no joke, I could actually make a whole page of testimonials going, you know, Coach Banks, I really love your acting training, but my gosh, what you do at the beginning of the class is better than anything else, you know. And it's just like, there are people that just really, really feed off of this stuff. And other people are like, look, I didn't come here to hear this shit, I want to act. And you know, and that's that too. And it's all valid, but this is how we do it here. So, you know, you can't please everybody. This is how we do it. So just to do a quick recap and then to move on into time management for you guys, and I have some cool things to kind of give you. When you do something, when you set out to do something, there is power in commitment. Say commitment.
Commitment.
Commitment, meaning you're going not maybe, sorta, kinda, you're committed to it. To give you an idea, there are a lot of things in life we go, well, do I want to do it? Do I really need to do it? Should I do it? And then there are things in life you just do because you know you got to do it. So unless you're a terrible human being, you look after your pet. Any amens?
Amen.
I mean, you look after your pet. I mean, you could be a terrible human being and not even be caring about yourself. Unless you're a really awful human being, you're getting food for that animal. You're taking care of that animal because there's just something about it. You wouldn't have the pet. And so you're taking care of the pet. You're looking after the pet. Might not be doing great. I always love seeing when you see not that I love the homeless thing, but they're there. You see the homeless people, they got their pets, and they've always got food for their pet. So it's like they're wanting goodwill for themselves and their pet. You know, it's like taking care of the pet. There's a thing inside us that will do that, but we can shift that towards what it is that we want to do and where we want to get after things. So by you making a commitment to say, you know something, right now, this is what I want to do. Now, people do this a lot. I can barely find a parking lot spot in my gym. And I mean, I'm a gym rat. I've been going to the gym since the 70s. And it's like this morning, I'm just like, what the hell is, what are you giving away? Oh, it's January, yeah. It's like this onslaught of people that go to the gym in January that just will not be there in 2 more weeks. You know, I mean, it's just the nature of it. You know, it's easy to start something. It's not easy to keep it going, and it's certainly not easy to finish things. That's what the difference is between somebody that's really getting a lot out of this life and somebody that's not getting a lot out of this life. Well, you don't understand the family I came from. And you don't know the friends I hang out with. You know, these are all excuses, man. Everybody's got everything. We make decisions, and in the decision making, we determine the type of lifestyle we're going to have. Now, is it going to happen like that? No, but sometimes it does. Sometimes you can cut one bad relationship out of your life, and it's like, oh my God, oxygen. I mean, it's that instantaneous. And other times, you just start making some simple changes, and over time, you go, I wonder why my complexion is so much better. Crazy, what's up? Oh yeah, I cut out all that crap. And then you see it like 3 months later. You know, things like that. In nutrition, health and fitness, I'll be talking to you a lot about water, because it's a very simple adjustment, and when you know how to use it and you understand what it is and how it works, and you get it to work better with your body, seeing we're about 88% water. The earth is 88% water. I mean, if you haven't figured it out, this is a water world. Mm-hmm. And you know, you might want to understand that there are pros and cons to how you handle water on the outside with the water on the inside. And when you can find a little bit of a better balance with that in a few months, you can start seeing some serious changes in your health, in your vibrancy. I'll get into all this later. They're simple adjustments. It's just about going, wait, should this go before this? Or should this go before this? You know? And it's that simple. You can have one simple thing out of whack and be throwing you off. And all you got to do is reverse it and get something in order. And that's part of just knowing how to go about doing things, going back to the goals, which I'll just do a quick review on. But you've got to make a commitment, and you've got to see what it is you're doing. And it isn't easy. And it doesn't always happen right away. You've got to take time envisioning how you want things to be. Now, I'm one of these guys who was taught in my early 20s when I was doing corporate, we were taught to lead from the front. There was this thing in business called executivitis. And executivitis means that when you get promoted to a management position, you kick back, put your feet up on the desk, smoke a cigar, and you don't do anything because everybody else does the work. That's a problem. Our company didn't allow that to happen. They always taught us to lead from the front. We had to do everything everybody else had to do. So no matter what position you had in the company, you did every job. So you knew what was going on. That was just instilled in me as a young guy. So when I talk to you about these things I'm talking to you about, these are the principles that have gotten me to the point where I am as a sextagenarian. Sounds kind of cool, doesn't it? It's kind of sexy. I'm a sextagenarian. But it's a guy who's been around for a while and having my life reflect what my life reflects. In the sense that even if you were here on Saturday, where do you think that came from? It came from a vision. Look around this place. Where did everything in here come from? It came from a vision. Go back through all the testimonials that are anywhere with anything that I've had anything to do with. It starts with a vision. So what I'm talking to you about, I've proved over and over and over, as somebody who's had 3 careers and working on his 4th career, these are principles that help you tremendously. You've got to see it, and you won't see it right away. This is why you need to take time by yourself in prayer and meditation, not in Instagram and Facebook. Granted, it's a part of our life. It's there. We're doing it. But so is drinking alcohol. So is shopping, and so is eating. You just don't do it all the time. I mean, think about social media if it were food. It'd be a planet of this. It's insane. It's just, at this stage in our life, it's okay. But I'm telling you, within a few short years, we're going to look back on this time right now, like we're looking back now on earlier part of the last century, when celebrities were promoting cigarette smoking, doctors were promoting cigarette smoking, telling us it was healthy for us. Nobody thought it. Time went by and you're like, what? Laws started to change, and now who's smoking anymore? It's the kind of oddballies that are smoking. Even if you smoke, stay with me. It's just not one of those things that's like it used to be. Because why? We're getting a little smarter. Well, what do you think people are going to be saying about social media? You guys were shoving those screens in your face like all the time? Look at all the radiation deaths that have happened because of that. We know that now. We didn't know it while we were doing it. It's one of those things. It's like anything else. We have to moderate it so that there's a balance. If not, you're like controlled by your phone. How do you know it? Because about every 8 seconds, you got an impulse to want to check and see who's doing something. Who wants me? What did somebody do? I got to see what's happening. And now you've created that. You've created that ism, that negative habit. That you've carved those neural pathways, and now it's something that's become an issue for you, like somebody with an eating problem, a drinking problem, a shopping problem, a gambling problem, or any other kind of problem. But it's going to take time for it to be an issue. Wisdom is going, wait a second, this makes sense. I think I should moderate this a little bit. Right now, the month of January is one of the driest months as far as alcohol goes, because most drinkers usually will back off in January. Why? Because they know they should get a handle on it and they got to watch it. And it's the beginning of the year and the resolutions and all that other really cool stuff. Because we know when things aren't good for us. We know in our heart of hearts. Whether we want to do anything about it is another story. Success-oriented people will manage a balance in their life so not to get too off kilter in any area, because it's easy. Entertainment, my gosh, they're going to look back on this era and go, those guys were entertainment junkies. Because if we're not being entertained, oh my gosh, we got a problem. And we're in the entertainment industry. But it's very, very real. All of it has to be balanced and managed. Did you have a question?
Me?
You were doing this, or were you just saying hello to me?
Oh, no, I was like, amen.
Oh, you were amening. Oh, you gotta give me one of these then. Give me a pump. Not one of these. Give me one of these. Okay. I hear you, brother.
Amen.
Okay. So stay with me, because there's no way that I want to preach to you guys. There's no way I want to beat you up with this. I want to share it. I want to share this information so that you have it and you go, wow, I had this coach years ago who taught this thing, made some sense, and I've been applying this, and as a result, my life's a little bit better than it would have been. You know, that kind of thing. And so, like these 2 guys that were doing self-destructive stuff this week, I'll give you an idea. One guy at the gym, we're going to Bangkok for our honeymoon, my wife and I. I said, have you been listening to the news? Are you familiar with some of the situations that are happening in that part of the world right now? Do you not know we have a major breakout and a virus that's becoming an epidemic, and it's not a good thing? And why would you want to go to that point of the planet when you could go anywhere? He goes, I know. Doesn't make any sense, but the wife wants to go. I said, does she know what's going on? You can go anywhere. He goes, I know. But what the heck? You know, if anything happens, it happens. I'm like, oh, really? Do you know right now they are setting up quarantine stations and security check stations at airports all over our country? Do you realize that if they even think something's going on with you, they will stop you and pull you to the side and quarantine you? Is this wise when you could go anywhere? I know, but we're going to go anyway. And it's like, you know, what do you do with that? You go, what do you do with that? Well, you know, we already got the tickets and we're doing it. I says, listen, man, this is a serious, serious issue. You're going into the heart of the beast right here. Why would you not want to now rearrange your travel plans and use some wisdom when there's a bazillion places on this beautiful globe to go to, as opposed to the day before you're getting ready to leave, them telling you you can't go, and now you're sitting there with your thumb in your ear in a quarantine station at LAX International. Why would you want to do that? It doesn't make any sense. But you see, we just do crazy things. And so I said, tell your wife to call me. He goes, you know, I told her about you. I told her you're the coach that's always helping me at the gym all the time. I said, tell her to call me. I'll talk to your wife. I said, come on, what are we doing here, man? You know, this isn't a smart thing. I'll tell you what, dude, if you do go, when you get back, you're not getting back in this pool.
I'll tell you that.
So I started messing with him a little bit, right? I mean, we do stupid things, and we're allowed to do certain stupid things, but there are certain stupid things that are just really certainly stupid. You know, that you just might want to go, let's not do this. Let's make a commitment to starting this new year off right. Let's make a commitment to committing to doing some of this work. Your time and your energy. Look, March will be here, and it will be here like that. And you would have either been doing this work or you won't be doing this work. And March will be here. So do some of this work. Make the commitment. Work on your vision. If it's not coming right away, work on it. Take some meditative time. Break it out. Tell yourself, I'm going to wake up 15 minutes early every morning and just sit and think and ponder with a ledger. And just even if nothing's happened, if you're drawing circles, just do it. Get yourself in the habit of feeding yourself. And whatever your lifestyles are, take some time out, some quality time out for you without the cell phone, without the social media, without the interruptions. You can have your pet there with his little head on your lap, and while you're doing it, that's all right. But I mean, just get in there and get some quiet time by yourself and work some of these things out. Now, we talked last week about goals. I'm not going to go back over that, but I do want to give you this. A goal is basically a dream with a date. If you're dreaming and not doing anything about it, it's a dream. If you're putting a deadline on it, you're turning a dream into a goal. It's now becoming more specific. And now you can put power behind it and things can start to happen. A person with an idea for a story that doesn't actually turn that story into language on a page is a person with an idea. A person who dumps it onto the page now becomes a writer. That writer now has a shot of seeing that vision come fruition through a team called the filmmakers, who can take that piece of paper and all those pages, regardless of how many or few there are, and turn it into a story. And that story can actually become something that other people can share. And a lot of you did that just this Saturday by writing your own monologues and then getting to see it. And those of you that actually scored high, right? George wrote his own monologue, and he actually won the writers contest by writing his own monologue and came in the top 10. Where did you come in? Top 10?
Top 10, yeah.
You came in the top 10 by performing the monologue you wrote. Mm-hmm. He did it. He's got it. It's there. It was approved by the judges and you guys who all voted and went, yeah. And it happened. And there it is. Accomplishment. How'd that feel?
Felt pretty good. Yeah.
Felt pretty good, didn't it? Yeah. Felt really good.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it did. Okay. So it's like, don't be afraid to do things. The key word that came out of it, and this was every year is great, but this year was really great. And the key thing that came out of it is from the judges: create content. Create content. Don't be afraid to create content. Just freaking create content. I mean, what the hell just happened last Sunday? You got a brother and a sister sitting in their bedroom just knocking out freaking bars, and now you got this massive 5-time Grammy Award winner at 18 years old. I mean, my gosh, that's insane. Creating content. Well, look at all the people who didn't. Well, that's a shitty attitude. What did she even say when she got up there? Did anybody watch the Grammys? You guys know what I'm talking about?
Billie Eilish.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about little Billy?
Mm-hmm.
What did she say? I did this in my bedroom to inspire you guys that are in your bedrooms right now.
Mm-hmm.
Do it. Create content. Do it. Do stuff. You know? So, do stuff for you. Do stuff for your acting. You never know what's going to hit and what's going to take off. If any of you were here, who was here Saturday? Who watched them? Okay, you guys know the best character, Hans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hans. I got on the phone with Colin, who invented the character, created him, and I said, you know, you need to do a series of 2-minute videos where Hans takes us through his workout. You will have a following. And so now I'm encouraging him to build a series on Hans. It will go. You have a Hans inside you. You just got to be strong enough and brave enough to continue to go in and pull those characters out. Pull out what's going on inside you and put it out there. And there was so much good work that didn't make the top 10. It happens every year. You know, it's a contest. It happens every year. You just keep creating content, and then you take that stuff and you use it for other things and other things and other things. You just keep doing stuff. You just don't stop. Okay, so keep that in mind. A goal is a dream that actually has a date. And putting your goals in proper order, again, you're not going to put a roof on top of something that has no foundation and no walls. It's out of order. So you get your tasks and your chores and your goals in order. Go back and look at that. All right, so I'm going to move on into time management for you guys and give you a little bit of insight on time and time management. The issue with time is it's relative. Einstein said, putting your hand on a hot stove for 1 minute will seem like an hour. Talking to a pretty woman for an hour will seem like a minute. That is relativity. Thus says Einstein. Everything's perspective. When you're young, it seems like you got all the time in the world. As you get older, it seems like time goes by like that. It's just a very interesting dynamic. That even though the clock is ticking and those are 24 hours, it's how you handle those 24 hours. Because you can be in some experiences that just go by just like that. Right? Everybody know what I'm talking about? Oh my gosh, really? That was insane. It was such a great time. I can't believe it's over. You know, that kind of thing. And then there's times when you're just like, when is this guy gonna shut up? Hopefully not me. I can't believe this person's still talking. How long is this movie gonna go on? This is terrible. Oh, this meal is just torturous. Come on, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
It's the same time, but it's how we experience it. Well, when it comes to you getting things accomplished, when you don't have a lot of things happening, time has no value. When you are busy, time is a high commodity. Like for me, I live by Google Calendar. 15-minute segments are queued out. Celine was saying something to me. She said, Coach, I just had this situation happen. I said, all right, what's going on? She goes, I just need 10 minutes. I said, 10 minutes? Where am I going to get 10 minutes for you right now? I don't have 10 minutes. I got things I got to do. You got to schedule an appointment. You know, I mean, I'm a busy guy. I'm entrepreneurial. I got a lot of things that are going on. Time is a high commodity. I've got friends that are married with children. that work jobs and do businesses and are actors. Time is a high commodity. You have to manage your time properly or your life is chaos. So wherever you are with time, these principles are going to come into play at some point for you if they don't already come into play with you right now. Now, Laith is in Florida as we speak. He's coming back tomorrow. He is another guy who doesn't have a family. He's a single guy, but he has so many projects going on. He's working all the time. He's working on projects all the time. He's being cast all the time. Time is a commodity, a high commodity for him as well. I don't know all your guys' situation, but it's a high commodity. And you need to manage yourself properly. Even if time isn't a high commodity for you, when you learn to make it a high commodity for you, you start to become more valuable. When I first started acting, one of the first notes I remember getting from one of my mentors is you be bright, you be brief, you be gone in an audition. When you go in, you're in there, you get to the point, you deliver the goods, and then you go because you're a working actor. You don't hang around and troll around and go, oh yeah, I got nothing going on, what do you need from me? Stand out in the waiting room just BSing with your friends out there and everything. You look like you're not of value. You are of value when you know that your time is partitioned and there's only so many things you can do with your. Now that doesn't mean you're not going to have chunks of time where you just kick back. I do. Sunday, I don't work on Sundays. Sunday's my day to just unday. I do whatever I want to do on Sundays that doesn't have anything to do with work. And I can do whatever I want. That's kind of hard for me not to do things because I want to do all kinds of other things. And so I have to really, really work at kicking back and doing nothing. I have my time at the end of the day when it's all over and done with. I take 20, 30, 40 minutes sometimes. And I'll just put some nonsensical thing on to let my brain unwind and just go, oh, okay, that's funny. I can't watch any of these shows because they hook you, and I can't afford that. I have to watch things that go complete. They got to be done in 20 minutes. So I'll put on a magic act on YouTube, or watch an episode of Seinfeld, or like the Twilight Zone, something that actually has finishes. Because if I put on a series, no, that's too addictive, and I'll lose my time. Now, if you got a weekend to burn and you got nothing to do, watch all episodes of Lost again, whatever. You know, that's your thing. You just have to manage it and know when there is a time to kick back and relax and a time not to. There are time for all things. Every season has its time. And when you become aware of seasonal timing, you become more wise. People that know this really well are farmers. People that deal in the agricultural industry, they know it because they know there's a time to plant. They know there's a time they got to go out there and they've got to till the soil. They know there's a time when they got to water. They know there's a time when they have to wait, and then they know there's a time when there's a harvest. I mean, we get that when we look at the farming industry, but the same thing works for us. And when you get your timing down for you, your life is going to make more sense. Nobody gets out of this alive. It's seasonal, just like summer, winter, spring, and fall. And if you're doing fall things in the summer and summer things in the fall, over time it's not going to work to your advantage. It's just the nature of how it works. I didn't invent this stuff, I'm just reporting it to you. So you manage your time properly, you manage your life right. What did Tom Hanks say in his acceptance speech? Show up on time. It's the first thing he said. Show up on time and respect people. You don't handle your timing properly, you're not handling people properly. It's going to come back and it's going to kick you in the butt. So the way for you to go about doing this, and I'm just about done, the way that you're going to go about doing this is you're going to start to chart your timing. And you can do this a few different ways. I would encourage you, there's an app called Time Logger, and it's a fascinating app. It's free download. And what you do is you load the app up with your things, and it's cool because it has little icons on it, like you work out, and it has little barbells. You eat, a little food icon. You shop, you go to the park, you read, you play with your pet, you do this, that, blah, 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 blah. You pick whatever it is that makes up your life, and this is why this is really fascinating. When you pick these things, then what you do, when you go to do something, you tap it and you hit start. and then you tap it again and you hit stop. Then you go on to the next thing that you do. I'm at work. You tap it when you hit start. You tap it when you hit stop. Then you're going to eat. You tap it when you start. You tap it when you hit start or stop. And whatever it is you're doing for a week, you log your time. And what's really cool at the end of this, when you get your reports, it'll give you your reports in a list. It'll give you your reports in a pie chart. Everybody know what a pie chart is?
Mm-hmm.
I brought a picture in case you didn't, somewhere in here. There we go. It'll pie chart you, and it will tell you what the hell you're doing with your life. And when I remember the first year that I did this, there were only like 13 things that I did. And I thought, man, I do a lot of stuff. I'm a busy guy. I got all kind of things going on. Then when I go back and look, there was really like only 13 things that I did. I just did them over and over. And that's Time Logger. Back in the day, and you can do this, there are people that do still like working with pads and pens. You make pie charts on your own, and you set up pie charts for different times, for different days, in different situations. And you start understanding, what am I doing with my time? Where am I the most busiest? Where is it that I have the most free time? And then you start to understand a little bit more about you, who you are, how you live, what you do, and where you actually do things. So when we get into health, fitness, there's what I'm looking for. When we get into health, fitness, and nutrition, there's a time, here you go, there's a little prettier one right there. We'll print it up and make it look a little like that. And it'll start to show you, wow, here's what it does at the end. Let's just say this is your life. And you're an actor, you're aspiring to be an actor. And your acting is the red. And hanging out with your friends is the brown. And social media and screw off time is the blue. And you're working, you got to look at that and go, this does not equate to me getting to where I'm wanting to go. I'm spending way too much time on things that don't matter. And all you have to do is start to make some adjustments and go, hold on a second, I need to grow this. I should be reading scripts. I should be working on monologues. I should be studying films and not just binge watching TV shows. And then you start increasing the pie slices that you are wanting to be about. Because people that run around going, oh yeah, I'm an actor, I'm an actor, I'm an actor, and you ask them to pie chart their life and it looks like I just explained, no, you're a dreamer, you're a dreamer, you're a dreamer, you're not doing anything. See, it's when we're done with this, and I'll give you a little advanced thing, I'll be able to tell an awful lot about who you are and where you're going to go. I could be your fortune teller by looking at two simple things. Your time management system, meaning your calendar or your ledger, wherever you track where you go and what you do, and your bank statement. Because wherever you're spending your time and wherever you're spending your money, that's where your heart is. That's where your life is. And there's no other way around it. That's what you're about. So part of this is the hard part of you going, oh my gosh, I'm not really doing what I thought I was doing. Great. That part hurts. But that's the great part, because now you can start doing something about it if you really want to accomplish things. A serious musician is going to be spending a lot of time by themselves playing their instrument. Serious athlete is going to be in the gym, on the track, on the field, in the court, wherever, working whatever their sport is. An actor needs to be doing the same thing. It's no different. Question?
You just made me think of something. As soon as I saw it, I related it to this, and it was a show on Fox Sports where Jay Glazer he's like an NFL insider. He talked about seeing Drew Brees at the New Orleans Saints facilities at 10:45 at night, still throwing. And he said, what are you still doing here? And he said, sometimes trying to be great is lonely. And I thought, that's a good statement.
Absolutely. Guys, greatness doesn't come easy. Everybody would do it. Very few people are great. That's why they make shows about greatness. They don't make shows about, like, oh, look, Nothing. Well, I guess they did. What was that one where you're just brothers or something? You hang out in the house with these people doing nothing?
Oh yeah.
I don't know, whatever. But you get what I'm saying. All right, I'm wrapping this up. I just want to give this to you as a little bit of a wake-up call. Find a time tracking mechanism and start working on it. Track yourself from 1 week to today. Just track it. Don't look, don't study it, just track it. Just clock it. Either work, if you like doing the craftsy thing, get yourself this. I'll let you take this. You can make a copy of it on the copy machine. You can have it. You can find your own. You can find your own pie chart online. You can fill it in. Any way that you want to do it, go ahead and get your tracking system. Time logger. I think it's called time logger. You can look it up. Whatever, do it, check it out, and log your time, and give it a little checkup next week to see where you're at with your time. Okay, here's a couple of things to kind of wake you up a little bit. And this is cool, and I'm done. There's a famous proverb that says it is wise to count your days. A lot of people think, well, I don't want to count that. I don't want to count that. Well, wisdom is counting it so you know what you have and you know what you got left and you know what you're doing. When you put a deadline on something, on your goals, you're going to have a better shot at accomplishing them. Oh yeah, I'll just do acting classes and whatever happens. That's one thing. But if you go, no, listen, I'm studying hard. I'm going to be studying hard for this year, and then I'm going to move it, and I'm getting into this, and I'm going to be doing this, and you're really self-determined to do these things, you'll start accomplishing things. Things will start to happen for you more so than if you don't. Okay, so how long are you going to live? Let's take a look at this and do some quick reverse engineering. A lot of people don't want to think about this, but it's the only thing we're all sure of. We're terminal. So get over it. How long are we going to live? The interesting question is no doubt, one doesn't ever really know how long they're going to live, although they just released the national average that right now in the United States, the average person lives to be about 69 years. Men and women averaged. Across the board. About 60. Men, I think, are 68. Women, I think, are 71. Somewhere right in that number. I dished out a very generous portion, and I do all my numbers around the age 82. I picked 82. Just as a number, it's just a number I picked, and the reason I picked it is because it's actually 30,000 days. And it all just works. Well, works for me. Okay, so think about this. In one day, you got 24 hours, less 8 hours of sleep, which basically gives us 16 hours in a day. We get 16 hours each day, which is, if you care, it's 1,440 minutes. In a week, you get 168 hours, less 56 hours of sleep. You only get really 112 hours in a week. If you sleep 8 hours, maybe you sleep 7 or 6, maybe you sleep 9. We're working around an 8-hour day of sleeping. In 1 year, you get 365 days, as we know, 52 weekends. You get 8,763 hours. Okay, here it comes. If you live to 82 years, you get 30,000 days, 29,930 to be exact. After sleep, you get 20,000 days. If you live to be 82, 20,000 days. If you are 20 years old right now, you have left 22,447 days. That's what you got left if you're 20 years old, which is about half a billion hours. I know it's 540,000 hours, not a billion, 540,000 hours, and you get 3,214 weekends. That's how many you got left. So you might want to think about those weekends. If you're 40, you have 15,000 days left if you make it to 82. That's 360,000 hours or 2,143 weekends. That's what you got left. When you're 55, if you make it to 82, you got 9,855 days left or 27 years. That's 1,404 weekends or 549 NFL weekends. For any NFL fans. Seems like a lot? Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
You're young. You'll see. Play this tape back when you're old. Oh, he was all right. Okay, so here's the whole point of this. Why waste your time on things that don't matter, that aren't going to give you the things in your life that you want to have? Unless you're just a survivalist and you're like hanging on and like, hell, let me just get out of this thing. Which is not really a great attitude to have. So, keep in mind that if you get around 30,000 days, here's an interesting thing. I got a buddy who's a number dude. His name's Scotty Atkins, a buddy of mine. He calls me on my birthday every year. He has for decades. And I know the call when it comes in. He just calls up. I see him maybe once a year. Maybe. Some years I don't see him at all. He's just one of those old friends. He lives in Van Nuys, but we don't hang out. We live different lifestyles. But we're buddies. And he calls up. And he goes, I say, hey, Scotty. Right away, I know it's him, right? And it's like, okay. 12,372. I said, thanks, Scotty. I appreciate it. He just gives me my number count and lets me know how many days old I am. You know, and it's, I don't have any issue with it, because for me, putting a deadline on something makes everything else more important. If there isn't a deadline on something, then it's like nothing really matters. Now, of course, we had a very somber experience this week with losing Kobe Bryant. It was a very sad situation. It's still rough for a lot of people. He's famous. That's why we know about it, because he's famous. I find it really difficult when there are 9 people that died in that wreck, and they go, Kobe Bryant and his daughter died, and it's like they don't talk about the other ones. Why? Because that's the nature. My point is, people go like that all the flippin' time. We just hear about the famous ones. Mm-hmm. We don't even hear about the other ones when they're with the famous one. So, get everything you possibly can out of it. The other reason that I teach this is because the actor has to learn how to isolate time in front of the camera. That's the art of becoming a good actor. You know how to stop time and create a moment as opposed to just going through it. And the more you are aware of time, the more you're aware of how you come across in front of the camera. Brilliant actors can isolate time and do the most minutiae of things, the smallest, littlest things, and captivate their audience just by doing simple things, because they know how to stop time, as opposed to somebody else that just has to. Why? Because their brain is still out here in no man's land. We're not going to pay you for that. That's not good stuff. So part of your acting training is your ability to learn how to stop that, isolate it, and go, no. Boom. And hold those moments. Because when you hold those moments, you now start to possess time. And the last thing I want to say here is there's a really fantastic documentary out there called, oh gosh, I wasn't planning on talking about this, In Pursuit of Greatness. And it's a documentary where they interviewed the greats like Gretzky and Jerry Rice. I mean, just so many great athletes. And they center it around these 3 of these key athletes, which was Gretzky, Jerry Rice, and one other guy, I'm not sure who it was. But they talk about Jordan. They talk about all these great athletes. And when they discuss what happens with these guys, they have the ability to stop time and see everything that's going on around them through another time dimension, because they isolate the moments. Sir Laurence Olivier, when he was done with a brilliant performance of Othello, had all these high accolades, and he was asked about how it was, and he goes, well, you know, I understand that it was wonderful, but I just don't remember anything. Because he was there, completely in the moment, not observing the moment while he was in the moment, to create brilliance. And that's all part of becoming a really great actor, is your ability to be able to actually manage time that way. So, I'm done.
Work your goals. Get your vision statement. Start to see things. Make a proclamation for yourself. Make a declaration for yourself. This is what's happening with me. This is where I am. This is what I'm doing. Proactive, present tense now. Start to put your goals and your values in order. Go back to the last video if you're not familiar with all this. And start looking at how you're spending your time. Because we're going to do the same thing with food. We're going to do the same thing with money. We're going to do the same thing with the people in your life. And so by the time we're done with this little series here, you're going to have more insight on things in your life that you take for granted. And when you do, you start to live more empowered and on purpose. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
All right. Good. Proud of you guys for tracking along with this. Just want to see you guys do great. It's not complicated. Right? Or you can do the other. That's nothing. So if you want some of these sheets here, you can take them. I brought some extras from years I've done in the past. Some of them are dated. There's a really cool little thing here on this one. Where will you be in 5 years? And it's you. And this was done years ago, but it's like, where will you be in 5 years? And just how to kind of put yourself ahead, in 5 years ahead. So I want to do something with you guys. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Perfect. There's 10 of you. Here's what I want to do. We're going to do a little exercise. If you need to take a break, do it and then come back. Because this next thing is going to last about 10 minutes. And then we'll break and then we'll go into the acting work. But this is really cool. This will blow your mind a little bit. Okay? So what I want you to do right now is pair up with the person you know the least well in the studio. Just sit next to them. Okay?